Tommy Norris has always survived by moving fast, making sharp choices, and masking fear with confidence. But episode 8 of Landman season 2 doesn't allow him that luxury. The world around him is quiet, but the tension is deafening. Every glance, every pause, every whispered word could tip the fragile balance. Trust is a currency running out faster than time, and Tommy is about to realize that some dangers can't be outrun. They must be faced. And this time, facing them will demand more than cunning. It will demand truth. The episode opens with Tommy sitting alone in his car, staring at a blank dashboard, his fingers tapping a restless rhythm on the steering wheel. There's no sound but the faint hum of the city, and yet, the weight in the air is palpable. He's thinking about the past few days, the decisions that seemed small at the time, but have snowballed into consequences too large to ignore. For the first time this season, Tommy isn't thinking about how to win or outsmart someone. He's thinking about what he's already lost, and the thought makes his chest tighten. Inside the office, TL moves with a deliberate calm that seems almost unbearable. Every action is measured, every word carefully chosen. Tommy glances at him and feels a flicker of frustration. Why can't life move as fast as he needs it to? Their conversation begins haltingly. TL doesn't rush, doesn't prod. He simply waits, letting the silence stretch. Tommy feels the weight of it, the unspoken questions hanging between them. He wants answers, but TL gives him none. Instead, he hands over small fragments, like puzzle pieces scattered on a table, and Tommy has to figure out the picture himself. Meanwhile, outside the personal tension, the company is teetering. Rebecca and Charlie sit across from each other, their faces tight with worry, the numbers on the screen reflecting risk in stark black and red. Charlie thrives on high stakes, a thrill seeker in a world that Tommy barely understands, while Rebecca calculates each step like her life depends on it, because it does. She's exhausted, but she keeps pushing. She knows that one misstep could erase years of effort, a thought that clings to her like a shadow. When Nate joins them, the conversation shifts from strategy to suspicion, and the quiet alarm in the room becomes almost unbearable. Tommy's phone buzzes, snapping him out of his spiraling thoughts. It's a message from Cammy, and reading it brings a fleeting comfort. Her trust in him is complete, unwavering, but it also makes the weight on his shoulders heavier. He realizes he can't share the truth yet. The timing isn't right. Not because the truth isn't important, but because it could destroy everything they've built so far. And as Tommy leans back, rubbing his face, the audience feels it too, the creeping dread of inevitable reckoning. By the time the first meeting ends, the cracks are no longer subtle. Small actions, the misnaming of a colleague, a delayed report, a fleeting expression, signal bigger fractures beneath the surface. The calm, meticulous world of the company is slowly unraveling, and Tommy is the axis around which it spins. Every choice he makes now has consequences, visible or not, and the tension doesn't let up for a second. The day wears on, but the tension doesn't ease. Tommy walks the hallways with a purposeful stride, yet every step feels heavier than the last. In his mind, the echoes of decisions already made collide with the possibilities yet to unfold. Each face he passes seems to carry judgment, silent questions that he can't answer. The company feels like a tightrope stretched over an endless drop, and Tommy is the only one walking it, balancing risk, loyalty, and fear with every hesitant step. The silence in the office is deafening. No alarms, no chaos, but it's louder than any explosion because everyone knows what's coming, even if they don't say it aloud. Rebecca catches him in the corridor, her posture rigid, her eyes sharp. She doesn't need words to communicate urgency. Her presence alone delivers it. The conversation is quick, a series of clipped sentences, each one loaded with hidden meaning. She's afraid, but she's trying not to show it. And yet, the cracks slip through. Tiny hesitations, the flicker of panic when she mentions the drilling report, the subtle way her voice rises ever so slightly. Tommy picks up on all of it. He's been here long enough to read between the lines, to know that what isn't said is often more dangerous than what is. Meanwhile, Nate quietly observes, the calm center in a storm of unspoken fears. He doesn't interrupt, doesn't lecture, but his presence is a reminder that every action is being weighed, every word noted. When he slides a conflict of interest form across the table, the gesture is almost invisible to everyone else. But for Rebecca, it hits like a thunderclap. The subtle reminder of rules, protocol, and accountability forces her to face a reality she's been dodging. The consequences of small misjudgments are lethal in this game. Signing that document isn't just a bureaucratic formality, it's a symbolic surrender, a moment where control slips from her fingers. Back in his office, Tommy's mind races. The weight of responsibility is crushing. He thinks about Cammy, about her unwavering faith in him, and it makes the silence more oppressive. He can't tell her the truth yet, not because he wants to hide it, but because revealing it too soon could shatter everything. His internal conflict grows. The desire to protect, to reassure, clashes violently with the necessity of truth. Each moment of indecision stretches the tension, holding both him and the audience in a slow, suffocating grip. Outside, TL continues his quiet observation, a patient storm contained behind calm eyes. Every interaction, every hesitation, every fleeting look between Tommy and the rest of the team is cataloged, weighed, and noted. TL doesn't intervene, not yet, but his presence alone amplifies the psychological pressure. Tommy feels it, senses it, and yet can't fully articulate why the simple act of someone watching him with unwavering calm feels so threatening. By the end of the section, the audience understands. The danger isn't loud and it isn't immediate. It's the slow, inevitable erosion of control, the quiet accumulation of small fractures that will soon collapse into chaos. By midday, the quiet tension has shifted into something heavier, almost suffocating. Tommy sits in the conference room, reviewing the latest reports with a laser focus. But his mind isn't on the numbers. Every line, every chart, every projection feels like a countdown. The drilling operation, the hurricane, the insurance complications, each piece intersects in ways that are dangerous, fragile, and impossible to ignore. He knows the company is on borrowed time, yet he also knows no one else sees it. No one else wants to admit it. That realization presses down on him harder than any external threat. Rebecca enters, her energy taut with controlled panic. She's been calculating risk all morning, and now she's brought the first cracks to light. As she explains the geologist's situation, she stumbles over the details, not out of ignorance, but because fear makes the familiar seem foreign. Tommy notices immediately. Her words, her tone, the rapid blinking, the subtle tremor in her hands. Every small signal is a red flag. She's competent, smart, fearless under normal conditions, but under the microscope of accountability, she's human. And that human vulnerability terrifies Tommy more than any overt threat ever could. Nate sits quietly, observing, his presence a mirror for Tommy's anxiety. There's no dramatics, no raised voices, no urgent music cue in the background, just the weight of expectation. When he slides the conflict of interest form across the table, the subtle gesture shifts the entire room. Rebecca's reaction is immediate, visible, raw. She hesitates, then signs, and the weight of that decision is crushing. Tommy watches, realizing that her mistake, or rather her oversight, has created a domino effect that now lands squarely on his shoulders. He feels the responsibility keenly, more acutely than ever before, and it isn't about protecting himself, it's about protecting everyone else. The episode doesn't pause to give relief. Tommy leaves the room and walks the corridors, alone but observed. TL is there, quiet, almost meditative, his presence like gravity. Tommy feels it pulling at him, exposing every internal contradiction. The audience senses the internal storm building. Every step, every breath is a battle between what Tommy wants to do and what he must do. It's no longer just about managing the company, it's about managing truth, deception, and consequences. Every face he passes, every half-heard conversation, is a reminder that time isn't on his side. Then, the first hint of moral collision arrives. Tommy receives a call from someone outside the immediate chaos, someone who knows more than he should, someone who might tip the balance in an unexpected direction. Pstit.